Hello everyone, hope you're doing alright. Today we're talking about movement in SWTOR. If you've played a video game within the past 30 years, you've probably thought about moving as the W, A, S, and D keys, right? This is kind of standard movement. Sometimes you get like a Q and an E to strafe back and forth, but the game has kind of programmed you to think if I want to move around the galaxy, I need to use these six primary keys of W to move forward, A to look left, D to look right, S to move backwards, and then strafing it back and forth with Q and E. But there's a small problem with doing that in SWTOR, because if you want to be effectively navigating the galaxy, you kind of have to use keybinds if you want to take your game to the next level, right? Otherwise, we're going to spend all of our time staring down here at the bottom side of the screen, trying to hit all the buttons at once and trying to make sure that we're hitting the buttons as they come off from cooldown, and we're not paying attention to what's going on around us. So we kind of have to be paying attention to our keybinds and looking up here at what's happening around us instead of just staring down here at our buttons, right? And so if we want to do that, we need to find a way to take advantage of the keys that are relatively sitting here on the left-hand side of the screen. I have rather large hands, so I can get over to like 7, but generally you can use like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, R, T, F, G, Z, X, C, and V relatively easily. You also have access to the middle mouse button. That combined with Shift will give you access to like 28 keybinds, which is way more than enough to play any spec in the game at a relatively high level, right? So we could have access to all 28 of these keybinds, but if we are moving with our keyboard, where are our fingers locked? Our fingers are locked here. It's very difficult to come over here and hit the G key if my middle and pointer fingers are locked to W and D for movement, right? It's very hard for me to pause and hit G and come back, right? So the best players in the game actually don't move with the A and D keys. It's slow, it's inaccurate, it's awkward. Instead, they take their mouse and they click the right key to look around, all right? The right key to look around is a very important concept because it's gonna free up all of your fingers. Additionally, if you hold down the right and the left mouse button, you'll actually walk forward. This is gonna help you in a couple of ways. For one, you're just more accurate with where you wanna move to, especially in like high-end raids. It becomes a lot easier to get to where you want to go to if you are moving around like this. For two, you can turn a lot faster and a lot more accurately. If you're relying on the slow pan or even a fast pan of using A and D, it's very difficult to kind of turn around and get the exact spot that you're looking for, when instead, boop, turn very quickly, adjust back and forth very easily. And then finally, it frees up your left hand to hit all the lovely buttons on your keyboard, all right? So you're not gonna spend any time here trying to awkwardly hit W and D and then use your thumb to hit G or try to hit 5 key with hitting D at the same time. It doesn't work, all right? Instead, if you can program yourself to move primarily by using the left and right mouse buttons or by using the W and E keys with one finger and then looking with the right mouse, you're gonna have a lot more opportunity to hit these hotkey buttons because your fingers aren't stuck on W, A, S, and D. So if you want to take your hotkey into the next level, stop your keyboard turning, all right? Use right mouse instead and look around that way. If you want to move forward, right and left mouse, or if you want to take things one step at a time, you can use W, Q, and E to move around and then right mouse to look. So let's hop to a game real quick and then we can kind of evaluate how this is going to look in an actual gameplay instead of me just running around my guild ship, right? 2 seconds. All right, so let's take a quick look at this Void Star defense game that I just pulled together. So first of all, from a sheer movement standpoint, you're gonna notice moving back and forth is made a lot faster by using the right mouse to look back and forth between studying the door and watching the people as they come in. You're gonna see the guy's gonna pop out of stealth here. We're gonna have time to quickly sap him up, check back to see who's all coming, look back at the door to make sure you didn't break CC, and then quickly type to communicate with my team, all in a matter of seconds. That would take a whole lot longer if you were using WASD to look back and forth. Additionally, especially in high pressure situations like this, when you have a bunch of people hitting you, you need to pop those DCDs very quickly. But instead of me sitting here staring down at the bottom of my screen, clicking my shield probe and then my evasion, I can pop them while also doing damage at the same time. I can also use my high mobility actions like my roll, etc. to get out of combat very quickly. I can use my breaker without having to click over to it. TLDR, your movements and your abilities will be triggered much, much faster because you can perform more than once at a time if you're using your keyboard. You can just watch The speed that you can use a keyboard to click your buttons is frankly a whole lot faster than you can use when you're just regular clicking with your mouse. Now that's not saying that you can't click very quickly with your mouse if you need to. However, that's going to drag your attention down here to the bottom of the screen. You're going to be staring at what ability am I going to click next, instead of, if you watch the eyes, where the eyes focus. The eyes are focused on the door. I'm not always staring down here at the bottom abilities. I'm paying attention to what is happening around me. I'm not just sitting down here. I need to hit my damaging abilities in order, back and forth and back and forth. No. Bump all that. Keybind them to your mouse and keyboard over here on the left-hand side, and then you can actually start to be paying attention to what's going on around you. That's not saying you have to bind, every single ability in the game. You really don't have to. You can just start off by binding 5, and you'll be able to play the game at a relatively decent level. But I would recommend binding to whatever you are able to get to, and just start practicing, because frankly, practice makes perfect. And when you finally get it right, you'll be able to really increase that awareness of what's going on around you in the battlefield, and that way you're not stuck looking down here and clicking back and forth and back and forth. You can actually start hitting more than one ability at once at a relatively high speed, and then you don't have to start thinking about what ability I'm clicking next, because frankly, the muscle memory will get there. So that's all I have for this video today. I hope you guys have a fantastic time. If you have any questions or you want to get started, let me know. I'm happy to be here and answer any questions you may have. But that's it. That's all, folks. Bye-bye.